Well, here's another weird story. And this one has to be like doubly weird. And you'll see why. I have to set a scene for you though. We have to go back to 1979 or 1980. And I was living in an apartment and with my daughter, who was around 9 or 10 at the time, maybe 11. And in my apartment, I had lawn chairs for my living room furniture. And I'm not talking about the lawn chairs that you see sitting on people's patios today. I'm talking about the lawn chairs that had those little plastic leaves that are really like scratchy to sit on. That was my living room. My dining room was a card table. That's where we ate. And my bedroom, the only bedroom that my daughter and I shared, had cots. We were sleeping on cots. Okay, so I know when I got into that apartment, I had only been there for a couple of months when somebody jumped on me and held something shiny to my throat, and I had awoken with an asthma attack. So he must have heard me, because I think that's why he came into the room and pushed me back on the bed when I was sitting up. And his body type was exactly like the guy I was going to marry. And I thought it was him playing a joke. You know, you wake up in the middle of the night, or it was actually like 4 o'clock in the morning, and you think, it's got to be him, right? You know, nobody else would be doing this. So I said, can't you see I need my inhaler? I'm having an asthma attack. You know, I pushed him away and got up and walked into my dining room with my little card table and said, well, I noticed that there was a guy going through my refrigerator, my freezer. And I remember saying, are we having a party? You know, I mean, that's how out of it I was. And this guy now has his arm wrapped around me with this knife to my throat. And this guy that was going through my freezer didn't look like any of my ex-husband's friends. Like, okay, so I married him and then I divorced him. And it didn't look like anybody that I knew. So I was confused, really confused. And then my daughter started stirring in the bedroom, and they said, who's that? What is that? And I thought, well, I'm gonna have to tell them the truth, because if I say it's my husband, they might go in and stab him, you know? So she came out. I wrapped my arms around her, and I was trying to hide my heirloom ring and my engagement ring, because I didn't want them stealing that. And I noticed that on the arm of this guy, his tattoo was missing. My ex-husband's, future husband at the time, arm was minus a tattoo. And that's when it hit me. It's like, oh my God, this isn't a joke. These people are trying to rob me of my lawn chairs and my card table and my cots. So they realized I had nothing in the freezer or refrigerator for them. And the one guy said, well, what do we do with them? And the other guy said, tie them to the table. Yeah, tie them to the card table. They'll never be able to escape from there. And I think that because of the way that I looked at them when they said that, they realized how stupid the idea was. So they said, okay, we'll put him in the bathroom. So they put us in the bathroom and told us to count to 100 or whatever it was. And of course, when I got out of there, I had to call the cops. But I also wanted to call my fiancé at the time to tell him, you know, what had just happened. And the cops came, and, you know, I had been trying to call my future husband repeatedly, and the line was busy, you know, because back in those days, They didn't have cell phones, and no caller ID, no call waiting, none of that. So I kept trying to call him back. Well, the cops came and they told me, and like, didn't you realize that you moved into a high crime area? And I said, do you think I would have chosen this area if I had known that with a daughter? Anyway, so I ended up moving out of there. But in the meantime, I kept calling my future ex, and finally got through and found out that the reason the phone was busy at 4 o'clock in the morning was because my future ex's roommate had a girlfriend who was concerned about my future ex. And she said to her boyfriend, something's wrong. I know something's wrong. I feel it. I can just feel it. Something is really wrong. Go check the house. So my ex's roommate checked every place in the house, all the rooms, basement, upstairs. She goes, no, 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 no. Go outside. Walk around the house. Make sure there's nobody out there. So he goes outside, he walks around the house, and of course he can't bring the phone with him because we don't have cell phones. So he's got to go back into the house to pick up the phone to tell her there's nobody there. So then she says, go look in the garage. I swear to God, something is going wrong with somebody. So he goes into the garage and he looks in the garage, and of course there's nobody there. Then he says, okay, or then she said, look down by the creek, because there was a little creek on the on the corner or next to his house, and nope, that wasn't it either. So eventually, she was probably thinking, wow, how can I be so wrong? And in the meantime, I'm trying to get through to them, tell them that something's going on with me, and yeah, that was what it was. So yeah, just a little weird thing. More weird things from Weird Woman Wandering. Thought I'd share. I hope you're having a good day. Hope you have a great week.